you're just sitting there, maybe scrolling through your phone, maybe staring out a window, or even just walking down a completely ordinary street. Nothing is happening. Nothing has changed. The world around you is exactly as it was a second ago. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, it hits you. That sudden, breathless drop in your stomach. A sinking, falling sensation, as if the ground beneath you quietly vanished for half a second. It's a brief moment of deep unease, a flash of emptiness, a physical lurch that makes you pause and catch your breath. And then, just as quickly as it arrived, it's gone, leaving you sitting there thinking, what was that? You try to look around for a reason. Did you hear something? Did you remember something wrong? You check your phone, half expecting a piece of bad news, but there's nothing. Your environment is exactly as it was 3 seconds ago. The coffee is still warm, the street is still busy, the room is still quiet, but inside your abdomen it felt like a tiny elevator cable snapped. You ask yourself, why did that just happen? Was that anxiety? Did something just go wrong that I don't know about yet? It's a deeply unsettling feeling precisely because it seems to have no source. It just appears, steals your breath, and fades away into the background of your day. If this has happened to you, I want you to know right now that you are far from alone. This is an incredibly common human experience. Millions of people feel this exact sudden drop in their stomach completely out of the blue. It doesn't mean you are sick, it doesn't mean you are on the verge of a panic attack, and it certainly doesn't mean that something terrible is about to happen. It is a quirk of being human, a momentary blip in the system that almost everyone experiences, but very few people talk about. We tend to brush it off, or worse, we let it spiral into a day of quiet worry, wondering if something is fundamentally wrong with us. But once you understand what is actually happening inside your body and your mind when that drop occurs, the fear around it completely dissolves. To understand why this happens, we have to look at how your nervous system is wired. Your body is constantly running a background scan of your environment, even when you aren't consciously paying attention. Think of it like a highly sensitive security system in a quiet building. It's always on, always monitoring, always checking for changes in temperature, light, sound, and even the slightest shift in your internal state. Most of the time, this system runs silently in the background, allowing you to go about your day without a second thought. But every now and then, it experiences a glitch. Not a dangerous glitch, just a false alarm. Your brain, specifically a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala, suddenly misinterprets a harmless signal as a potential threat. It might be a subtle change in your breathing pattern, a momentary shift in your heart rate, a tiny drop in blood sugar, or even just a fleeting shadow in your peripheral vision. Your amygdala doesn't take any chances. It is designed to keep you safe. So it sends a rapid-fire message to the rest of your body to prepare for action. This triggers what is known as a fight or flight response, but on a micro scale. You aren't running from a bear, your body is just briefly revving the engine. To prepare you for this perceived danger, your brain signals the adrenal glands to release a tiny, quick burst of adrenaline. This hormone surge causes your blood vessels to constrict and your blood to rapidly redirect away from your digestive system and toward your muscles, heart, and brain. Your stomach, which was peacefully digesting your lunch or simply resting in a state of calm, is suddenly drained of that normal, steady blood flow. That sudden emptiness, that physical pulling away of resources, is exactly what you feel as that dropping, sinking sensation. It's not your stomach actually falling, it's your digestive system being briefly put on pause so your body can mobilize for an emergency. But since there is no actual emergency, you're just left with the physical aftermath of that sudden shift, a phantom alarm bell ringing in an empty hallway. But the physical explanation is only one layer of this experience. There is another, perhaps more fascinating, reason why this happens. And it has to do with what's happening just below the surface of your conscious thoughts. Throughout the day, your brain is processing an unimaginable amount of information. You are taking in sights, sounds, smells, and interactions. You are also managing emotions, suppressing frustrations, keeping track of tasks, and navigating complex social dynamics. A lot of what you experience gets filed away before you even have time to consciously think about it. But just because you didn't process it in the moment doesn't mean it disappears. It goes into a holding pattern in your subconscious, waiting for a quiet moment to be sorted. Sometimes, a thought or an emotion that you haven't fully dealt with rises up just enough to brush against your conscious awareness. It could be a lingering worry about a conversation you had yesterday. It could be an unprocessed fear about the future, a subtle memory of a time when you weren't entirely safe, or even a quiet grief you haven't fully allowed yourself to feel. Your conscious mind might not even register the thought itself. You might be thinking about what to have for dinner, or whether you remembered to charge your laptop, but your body feels the emotional residue of that rising thought. It reacts to the feeling of the thought, not the content of it, and that reaction manifests as that sudden hollow drop in your stomach. It's your body momentarily surfacing a tension that you've been carrying but haven't yet released. When you think about it this way, that sinking feeling isn't a malfunction at all. It is a signal. It's your mind-body system gently tapping you on the shoulder, letting you know that there's something in the background that needs a little bit of attention. Not urgently, not desperately, just a small nudge. It's a momentary alert that says, hey, we're holding on to something right now, and it just brushed past the surface. Have you ever felt that sudden drop in your stomach for no clear reason? Let me know in the comments. It's always comforting to see how many others share the exact same experience, and it reminds us that we aren't as alone in our internal worlds as we sometimes think. Beyond the nervous system and the subconscious, there is one more way to look at this phenomenon. Your brain is a master at pattern recognition. It is constantly taking in the present moment and comparing it to the past, trying to predict what will happen next. Most of the time, this happens seamlessly. You know what's going to happen when you turn a doorknob. You know the sequence of events when you pour a glass of water. Your brain builds a continuous, fluid model of reality so that you can function without being surprised by every little thing. But every so often, your brain encounters a tiny gap in the pattern. A sound might echo slightly differently than it usually does. A shadow might fall in an unusual way across the floor. A muscle might twitch unexpectedly. Your brain registers this tiny deviation from the expected pattern, and for a split second, it pauses. It draws a blank. In that fraction of a second, your mind experiences a micro shift in awareness. It's a fleeting moment of uncertainty, of not quite knowing what comes next. And that tiny void, that brief blank space in your predictive engine, manifests physically as a drop in your gut. It's almost beautiful when you think about it. Your body is so deeply connected to your perception of reality that even a microscopic skip in your mental predictions can create a tangible, physical sensation in your gut. You are literally feeling your brain update its model of reality in real time. The most important thing to take away from all of this is that this sensation is completely harmless. When it happens, your first instinct might be to panic. You might think, is my heart okay? Am I getting sick? Is my intuition trying to warn me about something terrible? That rush of secondary anxiety is completely understandable, but it's entirely unnecessary. When you feel that drop, remind yourself of what it actually is. It's just a false alarm from a highly protective brain. It's a brief surge of adrenaline that has nowhere to go. It's a whisper from your subconscious or a tiny blip in your pattern recognition. None of these things are dangerous. None of them mean that something is wrong with you. In fact, they mean the exact opposite. They mean your internal systems are working exactly as they were designed to work. They are vigilant, they are active, and they are trying to keep you safe, even if they occasionally overreact to a phantom cue. Think about how often this happens to people all over the world. Someone is sitting in a quiet office in Tokyo, and they feel it. Someone is walking along a beach in Brazil, and they feel it. Someone is lying in bed in London, just about to fall asleep, and they feel it. It is a universal human experience, stitched into the very fabric of our biology. We are all walking around with these incredibly sensitive instruments inside us, and sometimes those instruments hum a little note for no apparent reason. You don't need to fix the instrument, you just need to understand what the note means. The next time it happens to you, try to change your reaction. Instead of tensing up against the feeling or letting your mind race to find a catastrophe to attach it to, try to relax into it. Take a slow, deep breath. Notice the feeling without judging it. You can even acknowledge it silently. You can say to yourself, there goes my security system, just doing a quick check. Or, I must be carrying something I haven't processed yet. I'll make some time for that later. By responding to the sensation with calm acknowledgement instead of fear, you actually train your brain to stop treating it as a threat. You teach your nervous system that this feeling is safe. Over time, those drops might even become less frequent, or at the very least, less jarring, because your brain learns that these little blips don't require a full-scale response. They just require a moment of awareness. It is so easy to feel broken by the things our bodies do without our permission. A sudden heart flutter, a random muscle twitch, or that mysterious dropping sensation in the stomach can make us feel like we are spiraling out of control of our own physical forms. But the truth is, your body is always on your side. Even when it misfires, it is acting out of a deep, ingrained desire to protect you. It is constantly scanning, constantly adjusting, constantly trying to keep you balanced in a world that is full of unpredictable variables. That drop in your stomach is just a small echo of that constant, quiet effort. So the next time you're just sitting there or walking down a completely ordinary street and that sudden, breathless drop hits you out of nowhere, don't be afraid of it. Don't chase it with worry, and don't let it steal your peace. You are not broken. You are not in danger. You are simply experiencing the profound, intricate, and sometimes slightly startling reality of having a human mind seamlessly connected to a human body. It is a reminder that there is a vast, quiet world of processing happening inside you at every single moment, keeping you alive, keeping you safe, and occasionally giving you a little nudge just to let you know it's still there, doing its job. If this brought you some peace of mind and helped you understand your body a little better today, go ahead and give this video a like, and consider subscribing for more insights into the hidden workings of your mind. I also put together a free ebook called The Magic of Affirmations that can help you gently rewire some of those background thoughts. It's a great tool for calming those false alarms, and you can grab it in the description below. And if you found this fascinating, I highly recommend watching the video on your screen right now about Your Body Jerks When You Fall Asleep, Here's Why. It's another one of those strange body quirks that makes perfect sense once you see what's really going on. Thanks for spending this time with me, and take care of yourself.